Unlocking Divine Grace. Decoding Rigveda 1.25 Shlokas 19-21. A journey of surrender and liberation. Namaste and welcome. In this video, we will delve deeply into the profound spiritual teachings embedded in the Rigveda, particularly Rigveda 1.25, Shlokas 19-21. These verses are timeless hymns that offer a profound message about surrender, divine grace, and the path to liberation. Specifically, these hymns invoke Varuna, the cosmic deity associated with moral law, the element of water, and the expansive heavens. Through these verses, we are invited into a spiritual journey of humility and trust in the divine. Let's explore their deeper meanings and relevance for our lives today. Shloka 19. Imami Varuna Shruti Havam Adya Cham Relaya. Tvamavasura Chake. O Varuna, hear this my call today and be gracious. I have turned to you longing for help. Imami Varuna Shruti Havam. The verse begins by addressing Varuna directly. O Varuna, hear this my call. Here, the speaker offers a direct and heartfelt prayer, symbolizing the essential practice of invoking the divine. The term Havam refers to the sacred offering or invocation, showing that prayer is not just about words, but is an offering of one's devotion and longing to the divine. Adya Cham Relaya. This phrase highlights the immediacy of the prayer. The speaker isn't seeking help at some distant point in the future, but at this very moment. Adya means today, and Mrila refers to compassion or mercy. The plea is urgent, expressing a need for immediate divine intervention. It shows that spiritual relief is not merely a distant aspiration, but something that can be sought and received in the present moment. Tvamavasura Chake. This line acknowledges the speaker's absolute dependence on Varuna. The word avasu means one who desires help, signifying that the speaker is fully reliant on the deity for support and guidance. It's a moment of complete surrender, showing that turning to the divine is not a sign of weakness, but of spiritual strength. Shloka 19 is a powerful call for divine assistance, emphasizing the value of humility and surrender. The speaker's vulnerability and openness to receiving grace remind us of the importance of acknowledging our limitations. This surrender is a form of spiritual strength, not weakness. It encourages us to recognize our dependence on a higher power for guidance and support. By invoking Varuna in this way, we are reminded that the divine's grace is always accessible, not just in distant times but here and now, whenever we open our hearts. In our own lives, this verse teaches us to lean on the divine when we face challenges, trusting that through surrender, we will receive not just relief but transformative grace. Shloka 20. Tvam Vishvasya Medhira Divashcha Gmashcha Rajsi, Sa Yaman Prati Shruti. O wise one, you rule the entire universe, both heaven and earth. Hear this my prayer. Tvam Vishvasya Medhira. Here, the speaker addresses Varuna as the Medhira or the wise one. This term speaks to Varuna's supreme intelligence and understanding. The phrase Vishvasya signifies the encompassing nature of Varuna's wisdom, acknowledging that Varuna governs not just a part of creation but the entire cosmos, both seen and unseen. Varuna is not merely a ruler but a wise, omniscient being whose decisions reflect the deepest cosmic knowledge. Divashcha Gmashcha Rajsi. This line reinforces Varuna's supreme dominion over all realms, both celestial, heaven, and terrestrial, earth. The word Rajsi refers to rulership, highlighting that Varuna's reign is universal, spanning all planes of existence. This divine dominion reinforces the idea of the interconnectedness of all things under the cosmic order. Sa Yaman Prati Shruti. The speaker once again pleads for Varuna's attention, asking the divine to hear this prayer. The repetition of the plea underscores the significance of divine attention in human life. It's a reminder that the divine presence encompasses and guides all aspects of existence, and human prayer is a vital part of this interconnected cosmic rhythm. Shloka 20 emphasizes the omnipresence and omnipotence of the divine. Recognizing Varuna as the ruler of both heaven and earth invites us to reflect on the vastness of the divine. It calls us to appreciate the interconnectedness of all aspects of existence, and to acknowledge that divine wisdom permeates every corner of the universe. This understanding nurtures a deep reverence for the divine and encourages us to see the divine not as distant or separate, but as an integral part of every moment of our lives. As we reflect on this verse, we are reminded of the divine order that sustains the universe. Every prayer we offer, no matter how small, is heard within this grand cosmic scheme. It encourages us to cultivate awe and humility, knowing that the divine is always present and listening. Shloka 21. Urdhadamam mamugdi novai pahamadhyamam grita, avavadamani avars. Release us from the highest bond, loosen the middle bond, and remove the lowest bond, O Varuna. Free us from the afflictions. Urdhadamam mamugdi no. This line speaks to the release of the highest bond. The Urdhadamam refers to the most intense or profound form of bondage, which could symbolize severe spiritual, mental, or physical suffering. The speaker pleads for liberation from these bonds, requesting freedom from the deepest forms of affliction or limitations. Vaipahem madhyamam grita. Here, the speaker asks Varuna to loosen the middle bond. The madhyamam refers to a less intense form of bondage, signifying the obstacles or sufferings that are not as severe, but still hinder spiritual progress. The request for this loosening emphasizes that freedom from suffering is a continuous process, addressing not only the most severe, but also the moderate hindrances that impede growth. Avavadamani avars. The speaker then seeks freedom from the lowest bond, requesting that even the smallest of afflictions be removed. The avavadamani refers to these smaller obstacles, but the plea suggests that every form of suffering, whether large or small, should be alleviated. Shloka 21 is a profound plea for liberation from all forms of bondage, both major and minor. The bonds, pasha, symbolize the various obstacles that hinder our spiritual growth. This verse is not merely a call for freedom from physical or external suffering, but a deeper plea for the release of inner mental and emotional afflictions that keep us trapped in cycles of pain and ignorance. The speaker's request is holistic, asking for freedom on all levels: spiritual, mental, and physical. This verse invites us to recognize the different types of suffering we may experience in life, some severe, others less so, and encourages us to seek liberation from all. It teaches us that divine grace can free us from every form of limitation, and the path to spiritual growth is one of continuous release from these bonds. These shlokas remind us that the path to divine grace is a journey of surrender and liberation. The act of turning to the divine, acknowledging our limitations, and seeking freedom from all forms of suffering is a deeply transformative process. These verses show us that by cultivating humility, trust, and reverence, we open ourselves to the divine's transformative grace, which can release us from all forms of bondage and suffering. These verses offer profound spiritual lessons on surrender, repentance, and divine grace. Each verse is a call to recognize the divine in our lives, to seek mercy, and to free ourselves from the bonds that limit our spiritual potential. Through these verses, we learn to trust in the divine's all-encompassing wisdom and to offer our hearts in prayer, knowing that divine grace will guide us toward liberation and peace. May we all experience the divine grace that leads to freedom from all suffering and affliction, and find true peace on our spiritual journey.